colors are.
So here, right here, the red part is the regime control part. The yellow part, that's the YPG terror group. That's where that controls that far northeastern part of Syria.
And where are these Daesh pockets?
And these Daesh pockets are mainly in regime-controlled areas, but this area is called the Badia. It is remote desert, so that means that these Daesh sleeper cells, these Daesh pockets are in a remote area. It enables them a level of mobility both in the regime-controlled area and parts of the Eastern Syria that are also controlled by the YPG. So this brings us to the Al-Hol camp. So Al-Hol has also been in the center of discussion between the United States and Turkey. This camp now holds over 70,000 individuals, hundreds of whom are also Daesh foreign fighters and their family members. So now the big question is, what happens to them? The YPG, which controls the perimeter of Al-Hol, has said that they may stop guarding this camp and as they move their forces along the Turkish border.
President Erdogan said in his speech today that they'll do everything to actually control the situation, but also for the women, for the wives of Daesh fighters, for the children of Daesh fighters, that they'll do everything to sort of rehabilitate them into society, right? It's a big task.
Well, and one of the points that came up between the phone call between President Erdogan and President Trump was this issue. What happens to Al-Hol? We heard from President Trump saying that now he has transferred this issue to control of Turkey, that Turkey will now be responsible for the future of the Daesh members and their family members in the Al-Hol camp. That is the main concern of the U.S. It is a counterterrorism mission at the end of the day.
Here's the real question. Turkey and the YPG don't get along. The YPG controls all of these Daesh prisons. Could they actually release these prisoners to let them go free?
Well, we've heard from a number of times from the YPG and their spokespeople that they may just do that. Now, this is essentially blackmail. And what happens is that if these Daesh fighters are released, they will go back to the core leadership and it will allow Daesh to regenerate, which is essentially the worst case scenario for the U.S., for Turkey, for the Syrian people writ large. Let's not forget that this is how Daesh was able to form in the first place. Hundreds of Daesh extremists were released from prisons, from Damascus, from Baghdad. So this may be a scenario replaying itself where Daesh may be able to regenerate if the YPG releases these prisoners or stops guarding the perimeters of these camps.
How much pressure can the United States put on the YPG in terms of securing these prisoners and handing them over to Turkey now that they feel that they've been abandoned by the U.S. Troop pullout?
Well, President Trump has some options here. Now, let's not forget that President Trump is the commander-in-chief of all U.S. military forces. Full stop. So what the U.S. Special Forces that are remaining in northeast Syria can do is a couple of things. One is take out some of the worst of the worst out of this camp, take them to U.S. military bases in other parts of the world and other parts of the region. We've already seen that happening with two of these British foreign fighters that were captured by U.S. forces. The U.S. has pulled them out, fearing that the YPG may release them.
All right, Oubai Shahbandar, thank you very much for joining us here on the NewsHour.